Okay, sir, go ahead. Rupsi ji, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Yeah, a very good afternoon to everyone. Do I am audible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to everyone. And my name is Roopsi Gupta, Architect Roopsi Gupta. I am an associate professor in Access Institute of Architecture. Today, my role will be as a moderator for this session. First of all, I would like to thank our chairman, Mr. Raj Kushwaha sir, and director sir, Mr. Malik sir, for providing me this platform to represent my college as a coordinator Access SOCHM student chapter. So first of all, I would like to welcome, and I am so excited to host this session for today's. Then, as we all know that Access College Kanpur promoting the initiative of Access SOCM GEM student chapter under the title Nischay. Nischay, it is a knowledge series, will endeavor to cover the broad spectrum of green attribute and wellness aspects of the build. So, in this series, our first session, our topic is water efficiency in green building. Firstly, I would like to call our director, sir, Access Colleges, Dr. Ashish Malik. I just like to give a small brief introduction about the sir. Professor Dr. Ashish Malik is director of Access Colleges, Kanpur, and is the alumnus of Thapar University, Patiala. He has 17 years of experience in teaching, industry, and research. He published more than 25 research papers with international journals and conference with 7 SCIs and Scopus Indexi journal. He is a chartered engineer and associated with various professional societies like IEI, ISTE, SESI. In addition to this, he is Secretary General with the Solar Energy Society of India. Uh, uh, Dr. Malik sir, please. Uh,
Thank you, Rupsi ma'am. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Today I welcome you all, Mr. Architecture Anupam Mittal ji, Chairman SOCHM GEM, Uttar Pradesh State Chapter, Architecture Gaurav Agarwal, Co-Chairman SOCHM GEM, Rajasthan State Chapter, Mr. Neeraj Arora, Senior Director and Head, SOCHM GEM, Sustainability Certification Program, Architecture Anurag Bajpai ji, Co-Chairman, SOCHM GEM, Uttar Pradesh, State Chapter. In the first Nischay 1 series, the initiative of Access SOCHM GEM Student Chapter Initiative. So before going to the agenda, first of all, I will introduce about our college and all. So Access Colleges was established in the year 2020 by starting 6 different colleges of engineering, management, fashion technology, and architecture in Kanpur. Our chairman, Shri Raj Kushwaha ji, sets his mission of let's educate the world with a motto of tomorrow's first. To make forward his lines of tomorrow first, we has taken first small step by associating our students with SOCHM GEM, Movement of Sustainable India. Sustainability is the present time need, as every project set up in present or future will be planned keeping zero waste in mind. The waste would be anything like water, material, electricity, etc., or even we can say the human power wastage. India's sustainable development plan will not be achieved through IIT, NITs, or Tier 1 colleges. Keeping this in mind, or we can say not in real sense, it will be achieved through pass out engineers or architects of Tier 2 colleges. Keeping this in mind, Access Colleges started the Access SOCHM GEM student chapter under the leadership of Architecture Roopsi Gupta. Through this chapter, knowledge dissemination and skill upgradation program will be carried forward under the mentorship of ASSOCHAM GEM experts. During planning and discussions of this chapter, one of our member mentioned that as we already pledged our working towards sustainability, then we should give a beautiful name to our mission. Then during those discussions with team, this word Nishchay came forward. Nishchay is our second small step towards this sustainability. Our first step is the associating with the ASSOCHAM GEM. Then second step is the Nishchay series. And we will achieve the mission of sustainable environment through our students of engineering and architecture. In addition to this, we will also achieve green rating of our campus through this mission through our ambassadors of Access ASSOCHAM GEM student chapter. Thank you and welcome you all.
For access colleges. There is some information which I missed in beginning. Students and all the participants, if there is any query, then you can put your questions there in below. There is one question and answer box is mentioned. So please put all your questions there only. No need to put the questions in chat box. Now our second guest speaker is architect Anupam Mittal sir. I would just like to give brief introduction about Anupam sir. Anupam sir is chairman ASSOCHAM UP State Chapter. Graduated from the Government College of Architecture Lucknow in 1994. Within a year of passing out, started his design firm in the name of Architect Plus. He is now the principal architect of Arnam Consultancy Services and the chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Certification Program, Uttar Pradesh chapter. With a professional experience of more than 25 years in the field, he has been a leading consultant for about 500 national and international level projects, which has earned him several awards and acclaims. He is an active member for various forums like ASSOCHAM GEM, CII IGBC, UPAA, GCAA, etc., and majorly promoting green buildings and monolithic concrete construction technologies. Sir, very welcome to this session, and now, sir, over to you.
Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I was not sure that I will be able to speak or be visible here because I just came after around 8.5 hours drive. Then I requested Neeraj and Anurag that you can take it up. But okay, since I am here, so I can like to speak first. So first of all, I know about Access College very well. I myself signed the MOU recently and got to know a lot about the college, and really I appreciate the way the college is doing things like in the, and especially in faculty. Okay, I'll come to the topic as of now. So first of all, you must be knowing about ASSOCHAM GEM. GEM itself, the people who are working in the field of sustainability, green building, I call them gems. All youngsters are going to come in the field of green and sustainable architecture through engineering or architecture. All of you will be the gems of the country. You will be contributing a lot for the nation. Since today's topic is water, and GEM, when GEM is there, ASSOCHAM GEM is there, then you can know about the rating systems, about the green building system, and always the present panelist, especially the main speaker, Gaurav, Architect Gaurav, will be speaking a lot about water in a few minutes' time. To begin with water, हम लोग बोलते हैं जल ही जीवन है. Yes, jal hi jeevan hai. So starting from the tap water we used to drink at the railway stations, now that has come into the 10 rupees or 20 rupees a bottle. So what is the journey? Why this journey came from this running water to the bottled water? We are responsible for this situation, and we should be responsible for making it back to the the way it used to be. The water was available to us. When we talk about water, the lot of cities where construction is going on, and what a lot of cities where construction is already done a lot. It damaged a lot. I can say the cities like uh, Gurgaon, I can say, where if you really need to start the building, you cannot get an permission to have a borehole. This college is in Kanpur. Okay, so it's a Hindi motherland. So okay, let me come to the this Hindi language first. हमारे एरिया में स्पेशली कानपुर जहाँ पे गंगा बहती है वहाँ पे पानी की कोई कमी आपको नहीं दिखती होगी बट जब आप यहाँ से निकल के आप इंजीनियर्स एंड आप आर्किटेक्ट जब अपने देश में और विदेशों में काम करने जाएंगे तो ये
Anupam sir, your voice is not audible. Anupam sir, your voice is still not audible.
Not audible, sir. Sir, not audible, sir.
it is not
Not
muted.
audible.
There's some
Sir, now.
Now, okay, sir.
okay. Is it better?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There is some network issue. I'm not sending my travel to some must be some network issue. Whenever it is not audible, I'll request Anurag Vajpayee, the co-chairman of SOCHM GEM UP, to take it forward immediately if there is any glitch. I think it's a very prestigious, like time is very prestigious, so we should be very much stick to that. So I'll immediately request Mr. Neeraj to ask Mr. Dr. Architect Gaurav to take it up as a session. Is there? Mr. Architect Gaurav is there?
Yes, Gauravji is there.
So can you just introduce him and take it forward? Because if there is an audible audio issue in my system, I think it's better to start the session first.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, Anupam sir, and thank you for such a small note that Jal hi Jeevan hai. As we all know that water is a God gift to us, Earth is the only planet where we survive due to of water only. So this session is also water efficiency is for this purpose only. How we used to conserve water, what technology we should use. So now our major guest speaker is Architect Gaurav Agrawal sir. Uh, I would like to just give a small introduction about Gaurav sir. Architect Gaurav Agrawal sir is a co-chairman at SOCHM. Architect Gaurav Agrawal sir is a co-chairman at SOCHM GEM Rajasthan chapter, principal architect Gaurav Agrawal Design Studio. He is a practicing architect since last 2 decades. He has been into academics and presently is an associate professor in Department of Architecture and Planning, Port VGU. He is serving fraternity in capacity of Joint Honorary Secretary IIA Rajasthan Chapter and Co-Chairman Associate Rajasthan Chapter. He has a passion for traveling, theatre and singing. Sir, over to you now, Gaurav sir.
Thank you so much, Roopsi ma'am.
Thank
I
you,
think I'm
sir.
audible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. सबसे पहले तो मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा एसोचैम चैप्टर यूपी का अनुपम मित्तल जी, अनुराग जी, कि आपने मुझको इनवाइट किया सेशन के लिए एंड डेफिनेटली चूंकि वाटर इज सच एन इशू, सच अ कंसर्न टॉपिक विद मी कि आई एम ऑलवेज रेडी. जैसे मुझे नीरज अरोड़ा जी ने कहा कि गौरव जी वी हैव टू प्रेजेंट अ सेशन फॉर स्टूडेंट्स एंड स्टूडेंट्स आर माय वीकनेस, यू नो, मेरे को स्टूडेंट्स मिलने चाहिए और मैं होना चाहिए एंड देन the things flow automatically. So I immediately said yes. And then when I understood that students will be in a mixed core, like they'll be from architecture, from engineering background as well. So I even tried to incorporate a case study in today's presentation. So thank you, Neeraj ji, for inviting me for such a wonderful platform. And last but not the least, the Apex Colleges group. धन्यवाद आशीष मलिक जी, आपको बहुत बहुत, रूपसी गुप्ता जी and Madam Khan. Thank you so much. So let me put my slide first. अब हम अगले आधे घंटे मेरे माध्यम से सिर्फ जल के बारे में ही सुनेंगे. So I hope you all will fasten up your seat belts. और जो presentation का way है, that will be a mix of Hindi and English. So निश्चय one जो ये सीरीज है, I believe ये बहुत ही उम्दा सीरीज ये चालू करी है. और पानी इसका एक कंजम्पशन और कंजर्वेशन आज का एक विषय बन गया है. It's to be thought over, it has to be thought wisely. क्योंकि हम जब, जैसा कि अभी अनुपम जी ने कहा, जल ही जीवन है. Actually, जल ही जीवन है. Everyone knows that. And I believe कि I have a glass and a water bottle along with me when I am taking this session because I know I'll be needing it frequently. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम कहां पर है? द प्रॉब्लम इज नल में जल. जल ही जीवन है. एवरीवन नोज दैट. बट किन किन के नल के अंदर जल है? दैट इज द मेन थिंग व्हिच इज टू बी थॉट ओवर, एंड दैट इज टू बी थॉट ओवर वेरी जुडिशियली. सो I think we all know that 3% of the Earth's water is the fresh potable water. Rest 97% is in oceans. और उस 3% water में से भी we just have 1% of water which we drink. Other 2% are either in glaciers or they are in poles in form of frozen ice. So we have just 1% of water. And out of that 1% of water, we have 33% as a surface water, which we find generally in rivers, lakes, and reservoirs. And rest 66% is underground, which we have no access to it. Until unless we have a tube well or a boring with us, we don't have an access to this 66%. So we guys are dependent on this 33%. और अगर हम रसूख वाले हैं और अगर हम कुछ हमारे अथॉरिटी के अंदर जानकारी रखते हैं and we have a private borewell with us, then of course we are using this water. और दिक्कत यहीं से चालू होती है कि हम इस पानी पे हम हमारा एक हक समझ लेते हैं and we use it unconditionally. सबको पता होगा, और स्पेशली ऐसे रीजन में रहने वाले, और हम लोग जो राजस्थान के अंदर हम लोग रह रहे हैं, हमको पता है हमारे एंसेस्टर्स ने इस पानी को एक धरोहर की तरह काम में लिया है. For us, water is not a replenishable material. It's not a renewable source of energy. Like sun and wind, which is a renewable source of energy, water for me is not a renewable source of energy. Though people say it's a renewable source of energy. पानी समुद्र में से वाष्प बन करके ऊपर आता है. It forms cloud, then it rains, and that's how the cycle gets completed. But the problem is that when we are overusing water, when we are exploiting water, we are drawing it more rather than we are giving back to nature. So it's not a renewable source of energy for me. And please, अगर हम सब इसी धर्म के साथ, इसी ईमान के साथ, और अगर इसी प्रिंसिपल के साथ अगर हम सब लोग काम करेंगे, तो ही शायद हम इसको सेव कर पाएंगे, तो ही शायद इसका इंटेलिजेंट यूज हम कर पाएंगे. अगर मैं वर्ल्ड के लेवल पे बात करूं, if I talk about global scenario, you can see everything which is in dark green to the blue, so the dark green part is a little or no water scarcity. As we go in the bluer range, we find that almost 40 to 50% of world is in underwater stress. अगर हम इस चार्ट को देखें, इस मैप को देखें, so we'll find that a large percentage of world's population still doesn't have an access to clean water. कितनी विडंबना है जीवन की. ये स्लाइड को मैंने स्पेशली इसलिए लिया because we fall under this category. We are not comparing ourselves with North America or Europe, जहाँ पे कि 80, 85, 90% लोगों के या even 100% लोग लोगों को एक्सेस है क्लीन वाटर का. We are to this region in which just 40% of our population has an access to a clean, portable drinking water. Just imagine this. I'll show you some more facts which will give you goosebumps, I believe. Now, when we talk about top 5 countries in the world which drew fresh water annually, India lies tall. हम सबसे ज्यादा हम पानी का दोहन करते हैं. The water I was talking about 6%. We drew the fresh water without knowing it, without thinking about it. We are even ahead with China. Now, this is a world organization which talks about water. It says कि जहां पर खूब सारा पानी है, खूब सारी रेनफॉल, खूब सारा है, वहां पर भी देयर इज वाटर स्केर्सिटी. वाटर स्केर्सिटी आज 3 में से 1 आदमी को वर्ल्ड वाइड अफेक्ट कर रहा है. 1/5 ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स पॉपुलेशन लिव इन अ एरिया जहां पर की फिजिकली वाटर स्केर्स है. 10% लोग वर्ल्ड के अंदर उस पानी का उपयोग कर रहे हैं which is chemically contaminated or which is polluted, and we are using the food which is grown into it and we are getting disease out of it. और अगर हम सारे विश्व का पानी अगर हम संभालें एक जार के अंदर, तो we'll find कि the actual potable drinking water is just 1 spoon. Imagine. Now, if we talk about Asia, all the part you can see in pink and purple color, or a darker pink, I must say, is under water stress. So हमको लगता है कि यूएई में, दुबई में, ईरान, इराक के अंदर रेगिस्तान है, that's why they are, but we are again in India as a subcontinent, we are still in the stress condition. Now this chart, this map will show you a clear picture. You can see Mumbai being a place which is on the coastline, Bali which is a place on the coastline. They are at the highest risk. So if we talk about 10 major countries, major cities in Asia and region, you will find that Mumbai is one of them. Now we talk about India. 50% of India faces high to extreme water stress conditions. You can see it, and major part of your Uttar Pradesh also falls under this region. And if we talk about आज हिंदुस्तान के अंदर पूरे विश्व की 18% जनता रहती है, और हमारे पास पानी पूरे विश्व का सिर्फ 4% है. So that is the basic unequilibrium position we have in India. 2020 मुझे पता है हम सबके लिए एक बड़ा ही इस तरह का साल रहा कि we have so many pandemics, so many things, so many natural disasters कि we all are praying कि हे भगवान 2020 फटाफट कट जाए. Please add one more line to it. 21 Indian cities are expected to run out of groundwater by 2020. यानी कि जमीन के नीचे जो पानी मौजूद है वो शायद इस साल के अंत तक 21 सिटीज में खत्म हो चुका होगा. And this gives me really एक चिंता का विषय मेरे लिए, क्योंकि मैं राजस्थान की बात करूं तो बीकानेर, जोधपुर, अजमेर, जयपुर, ये सारी जगह इस चार्ट के अंदर आती हैं. इन फिगर्स को थोड़ा ध्यान से देखते हैं. 1950 में जब भारत आजाद हुआ था, हमारे पास एक वाटर पर पर्सन अवेलेबिलिटी एक एक्स अमाउंट थी, which has been reduced to almost 1545 cubic meters of water in 2011. I am talking 9 years back. ये चार्ट मुझे कोई लेटेस्ट नहीं मिला, so I got it 9 years back. So we have seen that 70% overall drop in water availability in 60 years. आज का फिगर अगर मैं चेक करता हूँ, if I talk about recent, we have like almost 37-38,000 liters per person water, so which makes out around 104 liter per day. अब यहाँ से फिगर्स को थोड़ा याद रखने की कोशिश करना. हमारे पास 104 लीटर पर पर्सन पर डे का पानी आज हमको अवेलेबल है. सो लेट्स मेक इट अ राउंड फिगर, 100 लीटर्स. आज एनबीसी क्या कहता है, नेशनल बिल्डिंग कोड कहता है कि रिक्वायरमेंट पर पर्सन पर डे इज 135 लीटर्स. यानी कि हमारे पास इससे भी 35 लीटर कम पानी है, या 30 लीटर हमारे पास कम पानी अवेलेबल है. और सप्लाई कितनी हो रही है, just 69 liters per capita per day. I mean, NBC says that this much is needed for a person to live a healthy, comfortable life, whereas we are providing 70 liters of water, half of it, and whereas we are exploiting double of it. I mean, more than double. 2.5 गुना पानी हम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. This is the water we are using, 329 liters of water per day. I mean, we are exploiting water absolutely. अगर आज हम रिच हैं, आज हम अमीर हैं, आज हम रसूख रखते हैं, तो इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि हम पानी को किसी भी तरह से उसको लेजर कमोडिटी मानना है. Believe me, it has to be thought over in those terms. यहाँ पे मैंने बात करी थी अभी आपसे कि हमारे पास लगभग 104 लीटर पानी पर पर्सन हमारे पास अवेलेबल. नाउ लेट्स सी कि 150 लीटर पानी कैसा लगता है दिन में, बिकॉज एनबीसी सेज 135 लीटर, सो आई टुक a step ahead. मैंने 15 लीटर से और जोड़ दिए. 150 लीटर अगर हम एक दिन में खर्च करते हैं, so we use this water in these different areas throughout our day, and this is what we get for drinking. I mean, on an average we drink 2 liters water a day. वो दिन दूर नहीं है जब आपको ये पानी नहीं मिलेगा, और उस समय आप ये सोचना कि इस 2 लीटर पानी को पाने के लिए आप कहाँ पे कट ऑफ करने वाले. और जिस दिन हमने ये चीज सोचनी चालू कर दिया, लेट्स हैव मी अ सिप ऑफ वाटर फर्स्ट, और जिस दिन हमने हमारे दिलों में चीज सोचनी चालू कर दी कि बाकी सब तो ठीक है, अगर ये पानी मुझे नहीं मिला तो क्या होगा, then I think that day you start conserving water and you will be using water consciously. हिंदुस्तान के अंदर ये जितना भी आपको येलो पार्ट दिख रहा है, this is all water scarce states, and it is very surprised that 70% of people doesn't have the water, or if they have, it's a dirty water that is of no use as a potable water, and only 30% have an access to it. 2 लाख लोग हर साल हिंदुस्तान के अंदर लैक ऑफ एक्सेस टू सेव वाटर के चक्कर में मरते हैं. आपने कोरोना का फिगर्स देखे अभी 54-55,000, एंड आई बिलीव शायद कोरोना तो परसिस्ट नहीं करेगा, पर इससे भी ज्यादा लोग, इससे भी 4 टाइम्स लोग ज्यादा हर साल मरते हैं सिर्फ पानी के चक्कर. 600 million Indian faces have high to extreme stress of over water. 70% of India's water is contaminated. हम पी ही नहीं सकते. 75% of water. I'll just put up my charger on. 75% of households do not have drinking water on the premises. यानी कि उनको पानी लेने के लिए जाना पड़ता है. 84% rural households do not have access to piped water. They have to travel a lot to bring water from nearby places. This is the scene. So let us thank God, and we must thank our families कि जो आपको आज कम से कम ये तो provide करना है basic needs. People doesn't have basic needs. And this is a report of 2018 by Niti Aayog. It's a 2 years old slide, you may say. अब तो सिचुएशन और वर्स्ट हो गई होगी. अच्छा, पानी की केवल क्वांटिटी की बात नहीं हो रही है, इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट द क्वालिटी ऑफ वाटर. आज हमारे पास इतना सारा वाटर पॉल्यूटेड है, which we have nitrate chlorides, and TDS level is so high that we cannot consume this water. And if we are consuming it, we are having so many diseases with us. We all know that. And if we talk about groundwater usage pattern, especially I have taken this slide for you because I want to show you that Uttar Pradesh is a state which is drawing out maximum underground water. One more slide. So if we talk about this graph, let me take an example of Uttar Pradesh again. It's not because I want to, अब मैं आपको डराना चाहता हूँ, मैं आपको सिर्फ आपके स्टेट की चीजों को अवगत कराना चाहता हूँ. लगभग 200 मिलियन पीपल उत्तर प्रदेश में रहते हैं. ये जून 10, 2020, इट्स अ वेरी रीसेंट डेटा, जिसमें से केवल 57% लोगों के पास फ्रेश वाटर, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर पहुंच रहा है. यानी कि इसको हम समझने के लिए इसको 50 मान लेते हैं, उसको 200 मान लेते हैं. So 1/4 of the population is getting a fresh water. Imagine. 75% लोगों के पास नहीं है. Now, if we talk about the causes and effects of water scarcity, we all know, मतलब ये बहुत जनरल सी बातें हैं, but I just want to scratch that thing. Causes जो पानी के scarcity के, that is pollution of water, that is overuse of water, the distance, people live in such a remote areas कि जहाँ सबको उस पानी के लिए बहुत मीलों चलना पड़ता है. Drought is again a matter. कई सारे एरियाज तो हमारे देश में ऐसे हैं जो हर साल यहाँ पर ये ड्रॉट यानी कि what we say drought in Hindi. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping the name. So government access, बहुत सारे ऐसी कंट्रीज, ठीक है हमारे हिंदुस्तान की तरह आज ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बट देयर आर वेरी सो मेनी कंट्रीज व्हिच हैव डिक्टेटरशिप, और वहां पे पानी गवर्नमेंट के इच्छा पर आपको मिलता है, एंड देन द वेस्टेज ऑफ वाटर. अब इन सब कॉजेज से इफेक्ट्स क्या आ रहे हैं? इफेक्ट्स आ रहे हैं lack of access to drinking water, of course. Then you have birth of social issues like hunger, like lack of education, like poverty. Then we have diseases and sanitary issues. So these are the effects of a bad or contaminated water. SDGs, I think every one of you know about social development goals, and there are 17 SDGs right now, and you'll be surprised to believe that out of 17, 6 points in SDGs have water as a major concern, and one point, that is point number 6, is exclusively for and of water usage. The point number 6 says clean water and sanitation. Ensure, read this word again and again. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. It is our birthright to have a fresh water and sanitation things for us. ये हमारे को करना है. We must provide everyone with hygiene education. We should give them a clean, safe water, good sanitation. We have to give them water for reuse and recycle, and we should have a well monitored system so that water equality can be attained. ऐसा नहीं कि आज गरीब आदमी को पानी नहीं देना, सिर्फ अमीर को देना, आज उनको आदमी को नहीं देना, दूसरी औरत को देना. No, it should be equality in all the areas, and more awareness should be communicated to the communities to improve water management practices. The challenge for us is every year millions of people, most of them children, die from disease associated with inadequate water supply. It is estimated that by 2050 more than half of the world's population will live in the water stressed region. ये आज हमारे पास challenge है. Now why it is important? Clean water is critical to survive, and its absence can impact the health, food security, and livelihoods of families across the world. Drought affects some of the world's poorest countries, worsening hunger and malnutrition. आप बहुत सारे फोटोग्राफ्स आप देखते होंगे अलग-अलग चैनल्स पे, which says कि इस ड्रॉट के चक्कर में क्या-क्या सिचुएशन राइज हो रही है. And now what is the urge is the social development goals have committed the international community to expand international cooperation and capacity building on water and sanitation related activities and programs, and to support local communities in improving water and sanitation management. तो जो गोल नंबर 6 है, उन्होंने तो यूएन ने सारी कंट्रीज को वर्ल्ड वाइड ये कहा है कि आप ये देखें, ये तरीका आप अपनाएं कि आप कैसे आप सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर आप लोगों को देंगे, और ये जो आपको जो भी आपका सिस्टम है ये अगले 15 साल के अंदर यू हैव टू इनकॉर्पोरेट इट एनी हाउ, एंड इंडिया इज लीडिंग इनटू इट, एंड आई एम क्वाइट प्राउड under such an able mentorship or guidance of our dear Narendra Modi sir. We are having these flagship programs under Swachh Bharat Mission Abhiyan Yojana, National Rural Drinking Water Program, and Namami Gange, because according to World Bank 520 million लोग आज तो नहीं, because now we have this Swachh Bharat Mission. We were defecating in the open, and just imagine कि कितने लोगों को ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या हो. And these are targets. I mean, there's no point in reading all this, but whatever I have said about a particular community like for women and girls is especially very tough how to manage these things. Okay, so अब हम ये जानते हैं कि पानी के कंजम्पशन के बारे में बात करते हैं. We know there are certain industries which run on water. उनको पानी चाहिए ही चाहिए for operations. But अगर हम industrial sector को छोड़ दें, and if we take a non-industrial sector, out of this pie chart you will find that hotel industry consumes 20% of total water. Rest of the water is divided in different fields. And you all being students of architecture and engineering, I thought to make it a more a little more technical thing. So I'll take hotel as an example, and we'll see where are the areas where consumption पानी का होता है and how to conserve it. So when we talk about a hotel, we find that there are certain departments. 30% of water is used in domestic restrooms. जो हमारे गेस्ट रूम या रेस्ट रूम जो हमारे हैं, जो हमारे होटल के यूनिट्स हैं, उनमें टॉयलेट होता है, उसके अंदर हम सबसे ज्यादा पानी इस्तेमाल करते हैं. बिकॉज हमारी एक आदत है, घर में शायद हम एक बाल्टी या मग्गे से नहाते होंगे, पर हम होटल में आधा आधा घंटा शॉवर के नीचे नहाते हैं. बिकॉज वो एक्सपीरियंस ही एक अलग होता है, एंड दैट वाटर इज फ्री टू अस बिकॉज वी आर नॉट चार्ज फॉर वाटर, वी आर चार्ज फॉर रूम and probably with breakfast and rest, lunch and dinner you have to pay on your own. The second department is shared, the second percent is shared by two departments. One is the landscaping, that is for irrigation purpose, and the another one is the laundry. यहाँ पे हमारे कपड़े धुल रहे होते हैं. Then comes the kitchen and the cooling and heating system and the services. And even to my surprise, just 1% water is used in spas and swimming pools. बिकॉज यहाँ पर हम रिसाइकिल रीट्रीटेड वाटर हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं और हमको शायद पता भी नहीं चलता है, एंड दिस इज द एरिया जहाँ सबसे कम पानी इस्तेमाल हो रहा है. सो माइंड इट, हम लोग सबसे ज्यादा पानी वेस्ट कर रहे होते हैं. These are 4 prevailing building rating tools presently in India. One is LEED, one is IGBC, then Griha, and then CHEP. Now, when we say हम सिर्फ पानी के शूज की बात करें तो LEED has 4 credits and 6 points. उनके पूरे ओवरऑल रैंकिंग के अंदर IGBC has 6 credits and 19 points, whereas Griha has 6 criteria and 29 points, and ASSOCHAM JAM is leading all of them with 7 principles and 32 points. So because ये JAM जो है, this is purely एक Indian version है, और हमारे जो concerns हैं, हमारे concerns ऐसे हैं कि हाँ हमारे को पानी के बारे में सोचना, because शायद यूरोप में या अमेरिका के अंदर वाटर इज नॉट एन इशू, फॉर देम लीड और यूएसजीबीसी जो कि यूएस ग्रीन बिल्डिंग काउंसिल है, लीड है, उन लोगों को शायद उससे इतना ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता होगा जितना कि अपने हिंदुस्तानियों को पड़ता है. So ASSOCHAM India has 7 principles and 32 points and has been given by ASSOCHAM which are purely for water conservation. I'll quickly go through these 3-4 slides. There have been 10 credits which I have kept here. One is landscape, then irrigation, then rainwater harvesting, plumbing fixtures, wastewater treatment, water metering, services, construction, during construction, water quality, and educating stakeholders. So you can see JAM has all 5 out of 5 here and 2 out of 5 in this section. So we are working on 7 principles, whereas some has 4, some has 6, and that is all. And then I have made this comparative slide for inferences, in which I have tried to mention the landscape के अंदर हमको क्या-क्या करना चाहिए, irrigation management हमको क्या-क्या करना चाहिए, then what about rainwater harvesting and plumbing fixtures. So I'll just take, for example, rainwater harvesting. Install suitable designed rainwater storage system and oblique or recharge pit to cater to roof and non-roof waters. तो जितना भी पानी हमारा, we should collect it and we should store it and we should use that water. और वो पानी हमारे एरिया के, हमारे क्षेत्र के पानी को रिचार्ज करने में या रिप्लेनिश करने के अंदर जो काम आ सकता है. Why not to create a big water body? If we are designing a 5-star hotel, we should create a big landscape water body जो कि वैसे तो कमल और बतख उसके अंदर रहेंगी, and it is adding as a landscape feature in your property, and at the same time it is recharging your groundwater. Use of stored rainwater for landscape. आप ये जो पानी जो हमने स्टोर किया था उसको आप पेड़ पौधों में पानी देने के लिए, फ्लशिंग एंड डोमेस्टिक एप्लीकेशंस के लिए आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। और मैं तो कहूंगा हम तो नहाने के लिए भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, इफ वी यूज ट्रीटेड रेन वाटर। बट समहाउ पीपल आर अ बिट एप्रीहेंसिव इन द ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स ऑफ होटल्स। लोगों को लगता है पता नहीं ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट कैसा है, कि वी शुड टेक अ बाथ और नॉट, बट अदरवाइज इट शुड बी यूज्ड। सरफेस रन ऑफ, जितना भी बरसात का पानी बह करके जा रहा है, स्टॉर्म वाटर शुड बी चैनलाइज्ड and collected in water bodies acting as landscape feature, that is I already have talked about, and recharge the surplus water into aquifers। और जितना पानी हमारे पास अब बच गया है हमारी जरूरत को पूरी करने के बाद या कैलकुलेशन के बाद कि okay we want this much of water to be stored because there should be some kind of a yardstick। ऐसा तो है नहीं कि हम पूरे प्रॉपर्टी के अंदर सिर्फ एक रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग टैंक ही खोद करके बना दें। So we should recharge the surplus water into our aquifers। So like this I have jotted down all these standpoints and what is to be done in which field and how efficiently we can do it। And like we all belong to architecture and engineering side, I must also take one more point: construction. Use materials such as pre-mixed concrete or preventing water loss during mixing. Control the wasting of curing water. Use of building blocks and material which do not require water for initial procedure and obligor for curing. Okay. So if we talk about conclusions, let us take one by one department. So these are guest rooms. So shower flow should be no more than 10 liters per minute. So this should be a criteria, and this can be very simply measured with a bucket and a stopwatch। तो हमको पता चलेगा हम कितना पानी इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। Use low flow toilets, use 12 flushing toilets, use flow restricted for better with a better aerators। हमको सब चीजें पता सबको है, बट ये है कि हम कितना इसको इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। For laundry, always use a fully loaded machine and minimize the rinse cycle, reuse the water and treat it, and we can reuse the water again। Maintenance is an important issue। Check for all the leaks। जितने भी हमारे कोई अगर plumbing system के अंदर है तो always go with a 5-star rating machines and update your machines, and try to use ozone laundry system, because when this is injected in water it is giving you a very efficient wash। If we talk about landscape, the best time to water is either early mornings or late evenings। You can very well fix up our timings like that। Timer should be fitted with a sprinkler system and more moisture sensor। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए ना कि बरसात के दिन है और वो माली को बोला हुआ है कि आपको तो सुबह शाम पानी देना है, and he is busy giving irrigating the landscape। So if we have a motion sensors attached to it, why I have taken the hotel as a case study, because the maximum water is consumed in this sector, and this is a sector which is a kind of a lavish sector। We can adopt things in such a kind of project। Use grey water from bathing and sink areas to irrigate our lawns, and please use native species। There is no fun using some very क्या बोलेंगे अपन acquisite variety from some place, अपन ने कुछ dates palms अपन लगा दिए when we are into a bottom dry region or a composite climate for that matter। In kitchens you should use dishwasher when they are fully loaded। Pre-soaking utensil, अगर हम बर्तनों को भिगो के रखेंगे, हम अपने घरों में भी ये काम करते हैं, अगर हम बर्तनों को धो के रखेंगे, if management educate the staff, so it will definitely use less of water। We should rinse or soak vegetables and fruits in a bucket of water rather than washing them under the running water। So these are certain things, and why can't we adopt half fill glass of water principle? अपन को अगर जरूरत हो तो अपन दोबारा से पानी मांग लें, but why, what is the fun in filling up the entire glass of water with water and we are just having 1 or 2 sip and we are leaving rest of the water? So we have to change in our psychology as well। So educating all the guests, all the stakeholders, may it be guests, may it be staff, is very important। For services, we can have an automatic water saving। So we can, we can save water for our HVAC systems We can use treated wastewater for our cooling tasks. For swimming pools, we should have a regular maintenance. The जब हम backwash कर रहे हैं, so definitely बहुत सारे लोग उसको apply करते हैं. They use this backwash for landscaping. But I sincerely say you that if you can use this water very intelligently, very amicably, you can use. Once you fill a swimming pool, there's no need to change the entire water for entire 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years, I'm telling you. So, इसलिए use sensibly, cover swimming pools as far as possible, and we can install push button showers in our pool areas. And some other things is water meter. This is very important. देखो जितना पानी कॉर्पोरेशन हमको प्रोवाइड कर रहा है उतना पानी हमारा मीटर से होकर के आ रहा है एंड मैनेजमेंट नोट्स की इतना पानी हमने आज इस्तेमाल किया है एंड वी पे फॉर इट. जब हम जिस चीज के लिए पे करते हैं उसके लिए हमारे दिल में बहुत दर्द होता है. बट व्हाट अबाउट दैट बोरिंग, व्हाट अबाउट दैट ट्यूबवेल जहां से हम पानी को सिर्फ निकाले जा रहे हैं बिकॉज देयर इज नो मीटर अटैच्ड टू इट. जहां पे मीटर अटैच्ड टू इट नहीं है तो वी आर नॉट पेइंग फॉर इट. हाँ, उसको निकालने के लिए जो बिजली इस्तेमाल हो रही है वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वी आर पेइंग, बट वी आर नॉट पेइंग फॉर वाटर. व्हेन आई से कि एज अ गेस्ट ओके आई चेक्ड इनटू होटल, मेरे से होटल वाले बेसिक रेंट ले लें उस रूम का एंड देन दे से मी कि प्लीज यूज वाटर वाइजली एंड इफ यू यूज वाटर वाइजली विल गिव यू इंसेंटिव इन टर्म्स ऑफ मे बी अ फ्री लंच और डिनर फॉर योर फैमिली. यू नो वहां से मेरा वो माइंडसेट चालू होगा. अभी तो हमको ये है कि हम अगर होटल में जा रहे हैं सो वी शुड पुट आवर एसी ऑन 16 डिग्री टेम्परेचर, चाहे से फिर हम ब्लैंकेट ओढ़ ओढ़ के क्यों ना सो रहे. Why don't we keep temperature between 20 around 24-25 degrees centigrade? Because that's a human tendency. We shower a lot. We use water as it is our ancestral property. So we must think about it. Use broom as far as possible. हमेशा ये नहीं कि अपन ड्राइवेज को अपन धोने लग जाए पानी से. We can use these brooms. So these are 3 challenges: technological challenges, organizational challenges, and behavioral challenges. And all of these, if followed, will lead to a huge saving of water. I'll just brief you. Technological changes का मतलब जो हमने बात करी, dual flushing system, aerated faucets, then low flow fixtures, sprinklers, sensors, moisture-based sensors, etc. Then when we talk, so this is something which falls into the category of reduce. हम जो 3 R's हम पढ़ते हैं उसका एक reduce वाला part है. When I talk about organizational changes, it's like changing policy of water consumption and best practices for water, educating all you know. So I think that will fall under behavioral changes. Then maintenance for toilets, for swimming pools, then developing a system by which metering can be done, etc., etc. And for behavioral changes, yes, of course, training of staff, educating guests, towel and linen reuse programs. So all this fall under these things. So I mean all the principles of 3 R's, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. I generally add 2 more R's to it. One R is added in at the first point, which is refuse. Try to start refusing things. आपको जो नहीं खाना उसका आप refuse कर दो. Don't eat everything. कि मैं छोले भटूरे भी खाऊंगा और मैं गोलगप्पे भी खाऊंगा, मैं सब कुछ खाऊंगा. Start refusing things. And the last R, which is added at the end, is rethink. Start thinking from here now onwards. So now, what is the need of time? Everyone knows this. Please start following it. The need of time is rainwater harvesting. This is a very simple process. This doesn't require any major financial arrangements for it. So start thinking about that. And once you step out and once you are a professional, please practice this in all your projects. May it be a small project, may it be a big project. And these reuse program of wastewater. The wastewater which is generated at site, it should be primary treated and then reused. If it needs to be secondary treatment, do it and reuse. And if it needs tertiary treatment as well, then do it. Why not do it? So I'm moving towards end of my slides. I think 4-5 slides are only remaining. So today's pick of the day, I believe मैंने भी इतने सारे webinars इस लॉकडाउन सेशन के अंदर अटेंड किए, और इससे पहले जब हम फिजिकली भी, जब हम ऑफलाइन भी हम मिला करते थे, हम वेबिनार सेमिनार्स हम कुछ अटेंड करते थे, मीटिंग अटेंड करते थे, सो एवरी टाइम देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच वी पिक विद अस फॉर दैट डे। हम कोई मूवी भी देखने जाते हैं तो भी हम उस मूवी से कोई सारांश हम लेकर के निकलते हैं कि ओके दिस इज समथिंग वी टेक विद अस एट होम। सो टुडेस पिक ऑफ द डे इज start practicing every time when you grow a new plant. This is a technique. एक मटका, जब आप कोई पेड़, 2-3 पेड़ आप उगाते हो तो उसके साथ आप मटके को भी उगा दो। You harvest one pitcher into it and fill this pitcher with regularly with water. Now this water will dissipate automatically into the subsoil, and this pot or this matka will dissolve into sand in the soil in years time or 2 years time. By that time these trees have grown fully. So I mean, हम क्या होता है, हम पाइप ऑन करते हैं, मोटर ऑन करते हैं, then we start giving watering plants. So this is a nice technique. And if I show you the date says July 14, Tuesday 2020. It's a News in Times of India, and the Forest Department in Jaipur is adopting this technique. So a hole is created, a pot is inserted, and this pot, तो वो जो वहाँ आदमी है, the caretaker who has been given this charge is asked to just just fill this pitcher or the matka, and the water will go into all these plants. So this is my take. This is my advice to you. Please take this along with this time to your home and start practicing right from your home itself. Please save water for our future generation. It's not our ancestral property. We have start thinking in this term that we have borrowed this from our coming generation. So I believe, thank you all so much for patiently listening me. Please think about it, because वो दिन दूर नहीं है जब हमारे लिए ये एक समस्या हो जाएगी, how to get water, how to have an access to water, and how to have this 2 liters of water minimum which you require for your body every day. Thank you so much.
Sir, it is a very informative session, and pick of the day is very interesting for all of us. It's a very new and innovative thing which we learned today. Even I learned a lot from your presentation, that as we all know, water is our natural resource, and it is very precious. So this presentation was so helpful that how to use water efficiently, and it is very helpful for students and all the participants who are listening this. It's a very wonderful session. Thanks a lot, sir. And hope in future also we get very nice techniques to learn, like rethinking. Then refuse is the great word of this session, that we should learn how to refuse things. Like sir gave one small point, it may be a very small thing to that we should keep our utensils wet while we give them for cleaning. So it's a very small point, but a very learning thing from these small things in daily routine. Thank you, sir. Now we move to our other panel, that is Dr. Rubia. Today, Dr. Rubia is going to discuss on groundwater and engineering significance. I would like to give a small intro about Dr. Rubia. Dr. Rubia is Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department, Axis Institute of Technology and Management. Dr. Rubia has 7 years plus of experience in teaching, industry and research. IIT Raipur. She published more than 11 research papers with international journals and conferences, with 4 SCI Index journal papers. Dr. Rubia, now over to you.
Thank you, Roopsi ma'am, for inviting me. A very good evening to one and all present here. I am Dr. Rubia, professor in the Department of Civil Engineering and Access Institute of Technology and Management. And I am highly thankful to SHM and Mr. Raj Kushwaha sir, Chairman of Access Colleges, and Dr. Ashish Malik sir, Director, ITM Kanpur, for giving me this opportunity. Let me share my presentation. Okay, is it visible?
Yes. Make it full screen just. Yes.
One minute. Is it visible, sir?
No, it is not visible now. Earlier it was visible. Share it again.
Yeah. I think now it is visible.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Fine. Yes.
So today I am going to give a do a discussion on the groundwater and its engineering significance. So I think there's no need to explain this slide because already Gaurav sir explained much about this, that how much groundwater we have and all these things. It's important. So I skip this slide and I move to that what is groundwater. So my dear friend, groundwater is the water which occur below the earth's surface in the zone of saturation. It is very important for the sustainable development of life. And this groundwater is the water that's stored underground, not as a river and lake, but mostly filling the pores and spaces between the rocks and soil. As you can see in this diagram, this is our earth's surface, and the water which is here below the water table, it is known as the groundwater. And if you see this, there is a space between the grains of rocks which is filled with water. Then this water is known as the groundwater. So availability and lack of groundwater is depend on porosity and permeability of rocks. Groundwater supply, drinking water used for irrigation to grow crops. It is an component in many industrial process, and it is a source of recharge for lakes, rivers, and wetlands. Nowadays, but nowadays, due to increase in urbanization, industrialization, and agricultural activity, there is high stress in groundwater resources, due to which day by day quality and quantity of groundwater is deteriorated. So, before moving, let's understand that how groundwater occur below the earth surface. Okay, so this diagram shows the vertical distribution of groundwater below the earth surface, and you can see here this divide into mainly two division. One is your unsaturated zone and another is your saturated zone. This zone, unsaturated zone, which is also known as zone of aeration, it is just below the earth surface. Okay, and after this you will find the zone of saturation where groundwater occur, and it is just below the groundwater level. In zone of variation, the pore spaces between the rocks and soil is partially filled with air and partially filled with water. But in here zone of saturation where groundwater occur, here the pore between the rock and soil is fully filled with water. So this zone where pores are filled with water, we use it as a groundwater. So this is the general that scenario that how water occurs below the earth surface. Now, as already that Gaurav sir described that what are the various sources of groundwater pollution. Here I am also like to add something that Groundwater can be contaminated from natural sources or numerous type of human activities. If we talk about the pollution of groundwater, we categorize it mainly into two categories. One is your geogenic pollution, and second is your anthropogenic pollution. If we are going to a geogenic pollution, what is geogenic pollution? It is mainly related to the natural sources, like the contaminate from rock and soil. It dissolves in the groundwater and contaminate the water. And next is your anthropogenic activity. It is mainly due to the human activities, like improper site of your septic system. Okay, use of that improper practices we done in our agriculture activities, that activities, then hazardous waste disposal improperly on the earth surface, and urban runoff. Then take one example of that septic system. If we construct any drainage or any pipeline improperly below the earth surface, then what happens? If the groundwater level is near to this septic system, and somehow due to any that activity, there is leakage is happen, then the contaminated and the wastewater which is present here is infiltrate to this groundwater and may contaminate the whole aquifer. And what is aquifer? Aquifer is the water bearing formation. Okay, so it contaminates the whole aquifer. So let's example in urbanization area or urban area, mainly nitrate problem is there, because in septic system when leakage is there in groundwater, nitrate concentration comes high, and according to the Bureau of Indian Standard, that nitrate concentration in groundwater for drinking purpose is not more than 45 mg per liter. Why? What happens if nitrate concentration is high in groundwater? It causes a disease which is known as blue baby syndrome. Uh, what it done to that human beings? It destroy the oxygen that carrying capacity of blood. Ultimately, what happened? The infant become die due to this disease. So there is many more example like this. So this is how that groundwater is polluted and sources of groundwater. Now let's talk about the engineering significance of groundwater. How groundwater is important for the engineering purpose, like for construction for major and minor projects. So subsurface water or groundwater is often a very critical factor in various engineering works. It may pose problem not only during the construction stage, but it has a potential effect that if the functioning of an engineering project. Almost every engineering project like buildings, highway, pavement, airports, your runways, your dams, underground structure, whatever structures you on rock and soil, and that slopes may be affected in one way or other way by the subsurface water, which may lead to failure of such projects, thus causing loss of life and property. Therefore, it is an important aspect of any engineering investigation to assess the possible adverse effect of the groundwater proposed engineering project. In fact, it is not only the groundwater which will be affecting the engineering structure, but in many cases, the construction of engineering structure will be responsible in changing the subsurface water regime, and even it deteriorate its quality and its quantity. So groundwater affects the site selection, your cost, durability, and even the safety of the structures. So groundwater play a prominent part in slope movement, volume changes by shrinkage and swelling and collapse of loose soil. Therefore, one of the important aim of engineering investigation is to facilitate by the provision of subsurface water data is the prediction of undesirable changes in the subsurface water regime and the recommendation of procedure to avoid them. In engineering geological investigation, the following important information on subsurface water conditions should be evaluated. Like you should know the direction of groundwater flow, the velocity of water flow, the depth of water table, and mainly its hydrochemical, that hydrogeochemical properties, such as what is the pH, what is the salinity of the groundwater. So let's take some that example. Let's take that first tunnel. You all know tunnel is an underground passage. It is dug through the surrounding soil, earth, rock, and it may be used for like road traffic, for rail traffic, and for purpose of as a canal. Okay, so groundwater has the potential to cause great difficulties for underground works. Effort should be made to define the subsurface water regime. Data on like aquifer, sources of water, water quality, and depth to groundwater should be collected. The most serious problem encountered during excavation is the sudden inflow of large quantity of water. So groundwater and seepage pressures are the major factor for flowing and squeezing ground. The possible high corrosive effect of water on lining of the opening should be considered. On the other hand, construction of tunnel may vitally changes the water direction of a locality. Groundwater is not only influence the construction site, but the construction of tunnel can also be affect the direction of groundwater of that area. The concept of water regime involves location of water within the rocks, its direction and velocity of its movement, and changes in both location and motion in time, seasonal, and so on. So this is how the, and let's take another example of dam, that how that groundwater or surface water have engineering significance on dam project. Dam are generally constructed across the river valley to impound water behind it to form reservoir. So now if we take a dam, the dam foundation are laid down at a great depth. Why we laid down a foundation of a dam at great depth? Because it is a very heavy structure. So that's why the foundation of that dam are laid down at a great depth, depending upon the height of the dam and the foundation condition. In most of the cases, the deepest foundation level of the dam are below the natural surface water level. Thus, there will always be an inflow of water into excavation for foundation, which may be hinder the construction activities. The presence of groundwater in rock mass causes water pressure within the discontinuities, which result in reduction of cohesion and may cause problem of instability of reservoir and the abatement. An ideal site for a large impounding reservoir is a gorge with steep bank upstream, so that a small dam impound a large volume of water within a minimum extent of water spread. Now that reservoir, if we talk about the reservoir is an important that element of your dam. Here you can see this is the reservoir where the water is collected. Okay, so what is dam? What is reservoir, where we store the water. Okay, like in what happen if water is not stored, or it there is a leakage for some reason. So for this, to avoid this circumstances, we have to study the groundwater level of for this project especially. For example, let's take this your diagram. Let's take this diagram. here you can see the groundwater condition in the proposed reservoir must be truly established for an approximately accurate evaluation of storage capacity. So in this first diagram, as you can see, this is the top reservoir level, and this is actual water level of your earth, okay, below the earth, okay. So what happened, the general water table, this water table, as you can see, it is above the top reservoir level. Here it is above the top reservoir level in the proposed reservoir site, and this is very favorable condition as there is a no risk of water loss from the reservoir to the surrounding area, okay. And in
Rubia,
this second,
Rubia ma'am, sorry for interruption. Actually, we are running out of time.
okay, just it is my second last slide. Don't, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. If we see this, that in this, the general water table is much below the minimum water level in the reservoir, and obviously, depending upon the probability of rock along the base and flank of the reservoir, water should be lost from the reservoir to the surrounding, and therefore affecting the total storage of the reservoir. And in this type of condition, there is a no loss and no gain. So most favorable condition for construct the reservoir is this. Now, in previous slides, we talked about the major projects like dam and tunnel. But here we can see for building foundation and pavement that subsurface water also influence the these structures also. So that groundwater has the potential to change the engineering properties of rock and soil. Thus, the bearing capacity of soil may be considerably reduced because of the subsurface water, and the strength of rock is also affected when they are saturated with water. So some of the soil, like many expensive soil are there, when they are saturated, they increase their volume, like 20 to 30% they increase their volume. So bearing capacity is also less. This how that your building foundation and pavement may be collapsed. So, if we talk about the chemistry of groundwater is also influence the engineering structure. So, as you know that water is universal solvent, and in engineering structure, the subsurface water is an agent of solution by virtue of its acidity. If carbonic acid is high in concentration, then this acid will dissolve calcium ion from the concrete, and this process is common for all concrete foundation. So this is how groundwater is very important for the, every engineering civil engineering students, also for architect also. Okay, so this is all from my side. Thank you for listening.
Unmute.
Sorry, thank you, Rubia ma'am. Now we will come up our next speaker, that is Mr. Neeraj sir. And as we are running out of time, so I will give a small intro about Mr. Neeraj Arora. Mr. Neeraj Arora is associated with the Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India, New Delhi, that is ASSOCHAM, as Senior Director and Head. He is the head of GEM Sustainability Certification Program, ASSOCHAM Council on Environment and Climate Change, and ASSOCHAM Council on Education. He was associated with more than 200 green buildings projects in India and abroad during his 18 years of educational and professional work experience. Neeraj sir, over to you now.
Thank you, Roopsi ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Access Colleges, for organizing this wonderful program, and JAM UP chapter for organizing this wonderful program. And I would like to add here that Gaurav ji and Dr. Rubia Khan, we are receiving very good messages about both the presentations. So hopefully Roopsi ji will take the questions at the end. Meanwhile, I will just take 2-3 minutes and will like to introduce you that GEM is the Green Building Certification Program of ASSOCHAM. under this program, we certify the buildings as green rated. And this GEM Green Building Certification Program is for all types of building, whether it is residential building, commercial, hotel, hospital, warehousing, school, universities. Like say, for example, your campus is there, and in your campus you have multiple buildings. So what we do is we check whether your campus has rainwater harvesting, sewage treatment plant, whether it has solar PV, how the daylight is arranged in your buildings, how the fresh air system is there, how much is the landscape area, how the plantation is, how are you treating with your wastewater, how are you reusing the wastewater. So we check all these parameters, and on the basis of those parameters, we certify your campus, your buildings as green. And why we are organizing this program with you students? That ASSOCHAM GEM conducts the GEM certified professional training and examination for the students and faculties of engineering and architecture. In engineering, we conduct the GEM certified professional training and examination for mechanical, civil, electrical, electronics, engineering, and architectural students as well. So if you appear for that examination and you clear that examination, ASSOCHAM GEM Council provides you the GEM certified professional certificate. And with that certificate, you are now eligible to execute GEM projects under the GEM certification program. So after this presentation, after this webinar, we will share the program details with you, and the students and faculties, those who are liking this program, they can register for that GEM certification training and program. Now, Roopsi ji, I will not take much time, and will request you to please take the questions. We would be happy to answer the questions.
Is asking that what is the effect of increasing area of impermeable surface around the building and city areas or modern town planning?
I think Gaurav ji, would you like to answer? I mean, the question is that if we are increasing the hardscape area around the buildings, around the cities, so what would be the negative impact of doing so on the environment and climate?
Right. Okay. So I'll just my apologies to few of the participants here, because I was using Hindi and English both language, and I think few of the students were not comfortable with Hindi because they were not able to understand. My apologies. So I'll now try to figure out everything in English. So I'll combine this question with one more question from one of the participants, that's Arushi. And she says that in a city like Mumbai, in which we have this water clogging issues every year, and it says this has been drained, so it is the persistent thing which might have come to her mind. And she says that in Mumbai we are using these shadings for building, to make this building safe from water and the dampness and all that stuff. So how these shading devices can be converted to harvesting structures or something like that, and how to have an affordable roof, rainwater harvesting, and to save water for this. So okay, so number one thing is the first and foremost thing which is to be kept in mind is the clean drainage system. By clean drainage system, I mean the drainage of the storm water. Do you know that BMC has such a big budget that it is more than even the financial budget of a small state like Goa? The entire budget of the Goa से ज़्यादा BMC Brihan Mumbai Corporation का जो budget है, that is more than that. So much of water, so much of money goes into it. So there is, I believe, there's some lack of planning, lack of execution, and so many interventions, blockages which are creating this problem of waterlogging. Otherwise, Mumbai being on the shore and it's on the top of the ocean, why there should be a waterlogging every year? So that's number one point. Number 2 point, if I relate it with this question of what you asked about, how to improve this impermeable surface, of course, we have, as a planner, we have to judicially decide what should be the ratio of the built spaces with the open spaces. So there, if this proportion goes wrong, then this problem starts. We talk about concrete jungles everywhere. We are cutting off the trees and we are cutting off the jungles to make buildings for us to live. So there should be a balance in thing. We all know that parks are the spaces which can take this water, but I believe percolations in road, because these days the technique has come in which the entire road network of a city can be made out of percolated material, and that water goes into the subsoil. If you put up all your pathways and everything with interlocking tiles and giving a room for water to seep inside to get absorbed inside is another thing. So you have to really think in that term, in that area, so how to make an effective use of it. And one thing I would like to wish is ki, uh, like, as you all know, there are north-south corridors, east-west corridors, and a golden triangle and a golden quadrilateral. I mean, the road network of India, the entire India has been connected by that. Our then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji has a vision to connect all the rivers together. But I don't know why that thing doesn't come up, because of some issues or some interest with people. But if this kind of a thing is really thought over and to be done in that direction, every year Bihar and places like Bengal faces flood every year. So I will connect and drought at some more. Thank you for telling me drought is sukha or akal. Thank you so much, guys, because I was fighting that getting that right word. So I mean, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. Now, our last question is to Neeraj sir. Due to lack of time, we cannot cover all the questions. So, this sorry participant for this thing. Maybe your questions answer afterward as well. Now, my question is to Neeraj sir. Is it possible to convert the normal building to the green building without investing much, keeping the income of the day in mind?
Definitely, this is a very good question. So, in our language, we call it green certification of existing buildings. So, in all the existing buildings, we have to take care that first of all, when we enter into a building, and this is an existing building, what we check is we check the lighting systems there, we check the air conditioning systems there, we check that what are the water fixtures installed there. Then we check the whether the renewable energy resources are there or not. We check the daylight and fresh air things in the building. So, say for example, we enter into a building and there are old T5 lamps are there, incandescent bulbs are there. We first of all suggest that okay, replace these lighting systems with the LEDs. One. Second, we check the water fixtures and we suggest that put the water flow restrictors, water aerators on the water fixtures to reduce the water flow. Third, we recommend that install the solar PV system or any other renewable energy resources so that we can generate electricity from renewable resources. Then we recommend that if there are old air conditioning systems are there, old pumps are there, old electrical systems are there. So we recommend that replace those either maintain those systems or replace those systems with the newer higher efficient systems so that energy can be increased. And see if you are implementing all those parameters, the payback is not more than 3 years now. So if you are investing something on the existing layouts, existing buildings, your payback is even less than 3 years. And so this way we can convert any existing building into an energy efficient green building. There are many other features as well. Here we have with us architect Anupam Mittal ji, and he can add on more on this. Anupam ji, if we can hear to you, unmute yourself, sir.
You are right, absolutely right. The way it has been done is a retrofitting. We call it retrofitting of the building.
Yes. Yes.
So for the retrofitting, it's not necessary that you change everything. Rather, a very smart move as a designer, as an architect, as an engineer, what we can do, we can find out the ways, the small changes, very small corrections, very small, reworking on the openings, shading devices, putting up the solar panel, changing of few items can add on to the rating system, and then definitely you can create a green building. It is through retrofitting of the building. When you can have a create a smart building within the existing smart cities within these existing cities, why can't you do it green building within the existing buildings? Definitely we can do it.
Very good point, sir. Very good point. So, I mean,
one more thing. Since Roopsi is saying that questions are difficult to answer right now, so as a chairman of UP chapter, I can offer one thing. Like if you just compile all the questions, mail it
Okay,
to us,
sir.
and then we can share with the architect Gaurav and Mr. Anurag. Architect Anurag.
Okay, sir.
We can answer all your questions through a.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a better way because most of the common questions will be common in everyone's head, so it will be a great way to compare them and to form it.
They must get the answer after this session.
yes.
Okay, sir. Now we move to our next speaker. We welcome Mr. Architect Anurag Bajpayee. He will convey a vote of thanks. I would like to give a small introduction to Anurag Bajpayee as well. Anurag Bajpayee is the co-founder and director and head sustainability division at Green Tree Global and co-chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Certification Program, Uttar Pradesh chapter. He has an extensive experience of 14 years with core expertise on energy efficiency implementation. His work assignments include working with BEE, NTPC, BAIL, CPWD, AAI, USAID, UNDP, CLAS, PWD, NBCC, CDS, Railways, Metro, etc. He is a certified measurement and versification professional by AEE, a certified GRIHA evaluator, IGBC AP, and an ECBC expert empaneled with Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Besides, he also serves as a board member of International Building Performance and Simulation Association, IBPSA India, and a member of core committee of ECBC, ASSOCHAM GEM, GRIHA, IGBC, FSAI, and SEAM India. He has previously worked with Siemens Power and USAID ECO3 project. Welcome, Anurag, sir.
Oh, Anurag ji is.
Sorry.
There is some issues in the network connection.
Okay.
Okay. No problem. So,
Sir.
Anurag ji is there.
Sir.
You can.
Yeah, Anurag ji, are you there? Or
yes,
I think it's trying. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I think the network is not good my end. So thank you very much, Roopsi ji, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
And as a part of the responsibility, this is a vote of thanks as a process that I need to do. So in terms of, let's say, all the discussions that we have today, certainly I must thank the main speaker, Gaurav Agrawal ji. I think he has done it very, very passionately. And thank you so much for enlightening all of us with all the numbers, with all the water efficiency related information to all of us. As you have rightly said, sir, that we are representing almost like 4% of, let's say, the 18% of the global population. But in terms of the resources, we are only having 4% of the total water, which is certainly the imbalancing situation. But this is how we are, and we are in nature-wise also as a mindset, we are very conservative. So I believe that with this as a understanding, we feel that even if the minimizing the resource use, and that we feel that the knowledge and ASSOCHAM GEM has in his Facebook that is being shared by them will certainly help all the users in terms of saving the water. And as we understand, water efficiency part, be it the building inside area or the outside area, in terms of landscape, cooling tower, and etc., where we can save a lot of water. So wonderful. I must give you a lot of round of applause to you and Neeraj for organizing this event. And before that, I would be certainly not doing the justice of access and the active participation in this, we would have not been able to organize this event with more than 500 participants, which is a huge success in the parameter. Would like to vote of thanks to he was there for a small stint, but the way he started with respect to the Jal Hi Jeevan as a quote, certainly very remarkable. And he's a ASSOCHAM GEM UP chapter chair, and must thank you for your presence, sir. And then we have heard a lot from Gaurav sir, and thank you very much again. Then we have Dr. Rubia, and she has mentioned about how the groundwater and engineering significance is important in terms of the practices that we need to carry forward in terms of engineering and day-to-day life. And then we heard our own Neeraj Arora ji, and how the ASSOCHAM GEM is a handy tool in terms of saving or optimizing the energy efficiency or water efficiency and other parameters which are related to the buildings. And not but the least, Ms. Architect Roopsi, thank you very much for your very active participation, and your moderating style is very, very apt, and certainly have made a lot of comfort to the speakers and all of us. Thank you very much to Access College, and thank you all the participants who have spent almost like close to 2 hours time for being here and made this program a huge success. And thank you ASSOCHAM for organizing this program, because without their support, certainly the program, the speakers, all of us would certainly not be connected to the. So thank you all the participants, all the stakeholders, and thank you very much for your very active participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Anupam ji. Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav ji. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice day ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav sir.